We're being siloed into a bubble. Our likes empower the algorithm. It feeds us what we want, to keep us engaged. It wants to sell our attention. We slip deeper into a constraining narrative. But we must break free. We must burst the bubble. Truths will be learned. Cognitive dissonance will make our hearts and heads ache. Different perspectives will bring us wisdom. Some truths will be hilarious, others painful. But we must be free. We must break into the DisAlgorithm.
Alright, welcome back to the DisAlgorithm. A lot has happened since I last been on here. So, the day I recorded DisAlgorithm 8, I wasn't feeling very well. And I took some time off. I went out of town for a while. But while I was out of town, yeah, just everything popped off that night. And the video I had set for an upload was hit with a copyright strike because I had another music video in it. I need to stop doing that. I don't know when they're going to hit me with a copyright strike and block me. But they blocked that video, so it didn't upload, or it wasn't seen by anyone. So I cut that part out. I'm re-uploading it. You guys can check that out. That was Saturday morning. So a lot happened that evening, or that late night, early morning into Sunday. Just everything popped off. You know, I was able to see some of it from where I was, but not all of it. So I'm kind of just picking up from where I was on Saturday. So I'm kind of seeing all this stuff new. So Trump sent 3 B-2 bombers into Iran, and they hit 3 nuclear sites that are in Iran. So there's that Fordo, and I can't remember what the other sites are. But anyways, that all popped off Sunday morning, and yeah, that was pretty crazy. And then there's been a huge rift in the MAGA movement because a lot of us, aren't for war. I'm not for war, and these kind of crazy escalations, is concerning. And where we are now, because it's Tuesday morning, as far as I know, they called a ceasefire after Trump had bombed and Iran hit back at Israel, and then there was some kind of ceasefire negotiated. I think Iran has broken that by now. We'll check into all that. But there's a huge rift in the MAGA movement because a lot of us don't want these war escalations. We know what happened in the early 2000s when everything popped off after 9/11, and they told us that there's weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and we have to go in there because we need to spread democracy and stop the terrorists from using these mysterious weapons of mass destruction. But anyways, yeah, we've been through all this. We've seen this happen before with Bush, and Trump seems to have a clearer head on things, and I don't think he wants war. But the people he surrounded himself with are neocons that have done this all before. So he needs to be really careful about who he surrounds himself with. I don't know the intel he's seen, so I'm only from an outside perspective. I'm seeing, all these war escalations and conflict brewing in the Middle East, which is, on the other side of the world, which we shouldn't be involved with, which I thought, the MAGA movement was about, make America great again, which means not being involved in conflicts around the world It means protecting ourselves and using our money not to bomb places, but to build up our country. And I don't know. I think we've kind of lost sight of that. But on the other hand, I don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons, and then so that's the wedge that they've put in there to kind of force our consent into all this. And I think they're just going to keep on finding those lever points that they can wedge on us to say that we need a regime change. We need boots on the ground. We need to fight this little group of terrorists and this little group of terrorists, and it's just going to keep on going. In my opinion, that's where I see this happen. Where this is going. So, we'll check in on my feed and just see all the MAGA squabbling probably. And then we'll break into the DisAlgorithm and look on what's happening on the left. I'm sure they're enjoying the chaos that's happening, but we'll see. Alright, let's just get into it. Alright. Alright, so Donald Trump posted a picture of the beach.
It allows President Trump as the...
Quickly, we have less than a minute. Your reaction, this court decision is massive, Steve.
Yes, this is an incredible victory, the Supreme Court win. It allows President Trump, as the law has long said, but the courts have blocked, it allows President Trump to send illegal aliens convicted of rape, murder, homicide, assault, battery, crimes against children to any country around the world that is willing to accept them. So whether that be South Sudan,
wow,
or whether it be Somalia, or whether it be Ethiopia, any country in the world that is willing to accept these monsters, we can get them out of our country and be free of them forever. The only thing I have to share tonight, Sean, in a little bit of breaking news, is that the district court judge in Boston has said he's going to defy the Supreme Court's ruling. So expect fireworks tomorrow when we hold this judge accountable for refusing to obey the Supreme Court.
All right, Steve Miller, we always appreciate you being on. Thank you, sir. Quickly, we have less than a minute.
So yeah, any illegals that are committing any of those heinous crimes, we can send them anywhere now. That's awesome. Send them to Guantanamo Bay. That's where you can send them. See, President Trump said to Iran's nuclear program, "No way, Jose." JD, is that real? Do I have to make a Blue Sky account to check this? I hope this is real. All right, Rob Schneider says, I was wrong. President Donald Trump was right. War with Iran is already over, as is their nuke program, and over 40-year Iran nuke problem has been terminated, at least for the next few years. Iran-Israel truce is next. The world can breathe a sigh of relief. Glad he's our president. I put, you were correct to criticize war escalation. This isn't over, and you know it. They'll always find a reason for regime change and patriot blood spilling. That's my opinion. And then Catard, still can't believe all these people turned on Trump at the drop of a hat. So Catard just always attacks anyone that says anything against Trump. I like Catard, but he constantly does this. Majority of Americans believe the United States is on the right track. Fire, we are back. Businesses are leaving California in droves. Hair company John Paul Mitchell to move headquarters from California to Texas. Oh, check this out.
Okay. Well,
do you want to see Israel destroyed?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I mean, your pin says you're Jewish, right?
This point, I do. I used to believe in the one democratic state solution.
What do you do for work?
I don't.
You don't work? Why not?
I don't have to.
So you did well.
I haven't worked since I was 27.
Now, I think she actually is working, and as a professional protester. Here's her protesting without her sunglasses on. She usually does have them on. Here's her saying HP profits from Israel's torture of Palestinian political prisoners. Here's her saying democracy is not for sale. Back again with the Palestine flag, and again with the South African flag. Now, it's not just her, as we know that they work in teams. Look at this blonde woman beside her. I found her at more protests than any other paid protester I've exposed in the past. I found her at close to 50 different protests, all within a couple of years. So who's behind this team of people chanting for Israel's destruction on America's streets? Their name is Sami Dune. It's an organization based in Canada, and they are sanctioned by Canada as a terrorist group. In fact, in October of 2024, US and Canada issued joint statements listing Sami Dune as a terrorist entity. Canada called them a sham charity who funnels money into the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, which is a Marxist organization that recognizes a one-state solution with no Israel. Germany banned the group after members of Sami Dune passed out candy celebrating October 7th. The founder of Sami Dune at a rally in Vancouver publicly called Hamas heroic on the 7th and said that Hamas and Hezbollah don't engage in terrorism. If you look at the photos of this woman I interviewed, they almost all come from Sami Dune's website. Now, the Tides Foundation and the Tides Center is behind this, and you remember the chief donor of the Tides Foundation, George Soros. However, all you see is that the Alliance for Global Justice is their fiscal sponsor, but if you lift the hood, you see that Soros gives to Tides, Tides gives to AFGJ, which then gives to Sami Dune. Soros, along with the New Venture Fund, gave more than $9 million to the AFGJ.
So they funnel all this money into different non-government entities, the NGOs, non-government organizations, and they just give to each other, and then they fund all this stuff for all this Marxist revolution stuff. So Soros is giving to the Tides Foundation, Tides is giving it to the AFGJ, and AFGJ is giving it to that other company that is funding this protest.
Which again is the fiscal sponsor of Sami Dune. They want it to look complicated so you don't see this, but make no mistake, Soros is funding this. It is also important to note that
So it all leads back to Soros. All the leftists think anyone that calls out Soros funding these protests has Soros derangement syndrome. But as you can see, if you just look into who's funding this, it always leads back to Soros and Bill Gates and just the billionaires on the left who aren't out front about what they're doing. Elon Musk helped the right, and he was out front about it. He was the face of what he was doing. And Soros just hides in the darkness and funnels all his money through all these different places. It always leads right back to him. Just follow the money. So this guy does really good research, Nate Friedman Show, into who's funding those protests. I like him.
Can't even donate to the AFGJ with Stripe or PayPal or any normal methods, as all of those companies consider them terrorists. Yet they are still walking the streets of New York City screaming for the downfall of America.
It's crazy. Yeah, so people want to cry about billionaires funding political, like the oligarch, but the billionaires funding the right are out in the open about it. The billionaires on the left always hide what they're doing, and it's always these Marxist terrorist groups. It's crazy, and they just get away with it. It's aggravating. So we got that problem, and then on the right we also got a problem with the neocons. I mean, when Trump bombed Iran, Lindsey Graham was so excited. Uh, Lindsey Graham, Nikki Haley, uh, uh, Hannity, and just all the people on Fox News and Newsmax. Yeah, they're just so happy about it. Hodge twins. Let's see. Hodge twins criticized the bombing of Iran, and they don't want new wars. I mean, that's what Trump ran on. So Hodge twins are getting attacked by the right, by the extreme MAGA people. I don't know. The people that never wavered from Trump, who of course knows everything, and that no one is allowed to criticize, but anyone who does has to be attacked and canceled and shunned. So it's looking like we got America first. Looks like we got America first, and now there is Trump first. We are America first above any man, including Trump. MAGA is bigger than any one person. We push hard for him to win. Go back and look at our posts. We agree with 90% of what he does, but disagree on bombing Iran for Israel. That makes us traitors.
Do you want to see Israel destroyed?
Yeah.
Alright, so we got two sides to this that are just causing a lot of problems. I don't think we should be involved in any new wars. If they had proof that Iran has nuclear weapons or enriched uranium that's close to be making bombs, then show us the proof. Show us something. I'm sure he's got intel that we don't have. Otherwise, he's a maniac. But show us something. We can't just follow you into another war when we've seen all this happen before. So it's like, man, so frustrating. Because you're allowed to criticize Trump, man, unless you're in a cult. I mean, we all criticized him for pushing vaccines, for locking us down, for all the stuff with COVID. I mean, he was against mandatory vaccines, but the fact that he even supported them really pissed me off. I wasn't for any of those vaccines. The fact that he did the warp speed to push the vaccines, he got them out there so quickly, and because we knew they had already made them, they had already had them in stockpile, and they were ready for this already. So the fact that he pushed warp speed and acted like they just created those, and then put them out there and told people that they should get them, and was on TV getting his injection and all that, I didn't like any of that. And we pushed back on that back then, and it seems like everyone was pushing back on that. But now we push back on bombing Iran and getting ourselves involved with the Middle East again on behalf of Israel. It seems like some of these people are just following Trump so closely now that they can't see anything else. They just believe that Israel is protecting itself all the time, and even when they're bombing the crap out of Gaza, I mean, there's two sides to that story. I don't like seeing the freaking landscape decimated where it's just rubble everywhere after they bomb the place, and it's like, those are people's homes, man. People live there. You say there's terrorists there, well, go get those terrorists. It's not a big place, man. You can send your army in there. Israel has an army. Send your army in there and go get those terrorists. Why are you just bombing the crap out of the whole place? I don't understand that. But there's some people that just think Israel can do no wrong, Trump can do no wrong, and they can't be told anything different. Or just ignore them because they're freaking cultists. Isn't it crazy how Eric Swalwell was actually dating a Chinese spy, and he was never investigated for Espionage Act. Yeah, that is crazy. Democrats wanted to let Iran have nukes. Remember that next time you say they can't have guns. This is so funny. Liberals, after they just replaced their Palestinian flag with a Mexican flag, and now have to find an Islamic Iranian flag. Got your Iranian flag flying at your house now, loser? Who is he replying to? Oh, Swalwell. And then March, it's Ukraine. April, Palestine. May, Mexico. June, Iran. New York Times Magazine, don't play with your kids, seriously. I have 3 kids under 10 who don't expect or even want to play with me. I took some it took some practice, but over time we've all learned we're better off doing our own thing. Don't listen to New York Times, seriously. Yeah, don't listen to them. Let's see. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I spent millions of my own money and traveled the entire country campaigning for President Trump and his MAGA agenda and his promises. And Trump's MAGA agenda included these key promises: no more foreign wars, no more regime change, world peace. And this is what people voted for. Only 6 months in, and we are back to foreign wars, regime change, and World War III. It feels like a complete bait and switch to please the neocons, warmongers, military-industrial complex contracts, and neocon TV personalities that MAGA hates and who were never Trumpers. After the bombs were dropped, we were told complete success and Iran's nuclear capabilities were totally wiped out. Then it quickly turned into Iran's nuclear facilities partially damaged, and now it's we don't know where their enriched uranium is. Now let me be very clear. My children are 22, 25, and 27. I will literally fight anyone for their future, and their entire generation's future must be free of America's last foreign wars that provoke terrorist attacks on our homeland, military drafts, and nuclear war. I am fighting for them to have a future where they can afford to buy a home, afford insurance, invest for retirement, enjoy life, retain their God-given freedoms, afford to raise a family and under the Christian faith, not be in debt, safety and security, and not to have our own taxpayer-funded government destroy it all. Contrary to brainwashed Democrat boomers think and protest about, Trump is not a king, MAGA is not a cult, and I do have my own opinion. Let's see. If you don't like it, you must hate the Jews. Today, at Nikki Haley went on CNBC and called for the U.S. to bomb Iran. Nikki Haley wants more war in the Middle East, which means more dead U.S. soldiers. The only person who has proven he won't create more war is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the pro-peace candidate. That was a little before breaking. President Trump confirms the U.S. just bombed all 3 nuclear sites in Iran. He said all U.S. planes are now on their way home. Thank you, President Trump. And if you don't like it, you must hate the Jews. You are a self-proclaimed MAGA trying to shut down, name, shame anyone. If you are a self-proclaimed MAGA trying to shut down, name, and shame anyone who dared question U.S. involvement in more Middle East conflict. Ironically, you're probably not MAGA. You're likely just a neocon cloaking themselves in MAGA. Food for thought. Okay. No nukes for Iran. No troops on the ground. No U.S. troops dead. No regime change. No nation building. No war. President Trump with a historic masterclass. I mean, that's great if it continues that way, but we all know where this goes. We are in a war, probably. They want regime change. It's going to end up troops on the ground, and they're just going to keep on putting this in front of us to get us in there. And they will die if they go on the ground. They're calling for a regime change. And then they're going to say, hey, we bombed the heck out of them. We need to start helping them out. So let's send our money there. Thomas Massey calls for dissolution of the Federal Reserve. Heck yeah. President Trump has publicly endorsed regime change in Iran, breaking his promise to the American people, pushing the planet to the edge of nuclear war. All right, let's see what.
We're now in day 11. It's Monday, June 23rd, 2025. It's one of the most important video posts I've ever made. We're now in day 11 of the Israeli strikes on Iran and their counterstrikes. We are now going into the third day of the United States launching its attacks last Saturday that I predicted to the day. Here's the bottom line. President Trump said he did not want war, but he said he would never let Iran get a nuclear weapon. He said it was not about regime change, and in his speech Saturday evening, he said that he wanted peace. Then last night on Truth Social, he says, make Iran great again, that regime change is a good thing. That is designed to push the mullahs to close the Strait of Hormuz and attack U.S. bases, something they're saying they're looking strongly at doing if they will retaliate. So the Trump administration, while on one side of its mouth saying it wants peace, on the other side is pushing and stoking this war for AIPAC and others. That's just a fact. And whereas I support Trump's domestic agenda and the trade agenda and all the other great things he's doing, and I've been persecuted, and along many others, for standing for Trump, who I think God wasn't killed at Butler, and I think overall is a great man. He is making the wrong decision on all of this, and he is breaking his promise to the American people to not launch offensive wars. It's true he said no nuclear weapon, but now he is definitely going back on a promise, now pushing regime change. We also have Russia announcing over the weekend, and North Korea confirming, and others, that they are looking to give nuclear weapons to Iran so they have a mutually assured destruction program so this war will end. I don't support the proliferation of nuclear weapons, but that's the reason North Korea hasn't been attacked, because they have nukes and delivery systems. This is escalating out of control. I told people when this all started 10, 11 days ago that it's all about regime change. Netanyahu's like, oh no, it's just about their nuclear sites. 3 days later, yeah, it's about regime change. And you look at the propaganda coming out of the White House, it's AIPAC Israeli propaganda 100%. This is a huge problem for everyone. Oil prices are already exploding. That will increase inflation. That will derail the Trump recovery if you look at the numbers, but it just gets worse from there. Now there's Iranian sleeper cells I told you they talk about are going to hit us any minute. U.S. intel says it could happen. Well, that means the globalists could also stage false flags to legitimize going to full war, even though the Iranians don't activate the sleeper cells that are here with our wide open borders we've had for the last 4 years. So this is so dangerous. Things are only intensifying. Pray for peace and speak up. Let Trump administration know that this is not what we voted for. You also have the war powers being ignored. You've got Massey, saying he's introduced legislation to try to demand that Congress vote. The Democrats are using this to look like they're the peaceniks when they love the Ukraine war and all the rest of it that Trump's rightly been trying to end. AOC's introduced articles of impeachment. This is a disaster spiraling out of control. We know most of Trump's advisors told him not to do this, but he's overridden them, listening to Hegseth and General Kurilla, the head of CENTCOM. So that's where we are. I'll be on the air today, Lord willing, it's on nuclear war, 11 a.m. Central, Harrison Smith, 8 a.m. at Infowars.com/show, and the feeds right here at Real Alex Jones. That's the facts. God help us all. Oh, and finally, again, it's, as I said earlier, a provocation. They're trying to get Iran to jump and to attack our ships or bases so that we can go to full war. That's the whole point of this video in the final equation, which again, it's all about the regime change, all about legitimizing full war. And that's why more carriers are showing up, and troops and ships and bombs are all being pre-deployed in mass in Saudi Arabia and all over the Middle East. I mean, this is just unbelievable. And so that's the added point here, that with Trump's regime change statement being to push the mullahs in a corner. Oh, and I almost forgot, as I predicted, they've got the uranium out of those bases. That's all confirmed now. Now suddenly the Pentagon admits it. And, well, so the war's got to continue on. You see how that works?
Yep.
They're camels nose in the tent flap, roping us into full war. It's like the neocons have done with the left and the Russia-Ukraine war. It's the same crap. It's all meant to derail the recovery and make America great again agenda. We didn't vote for making Iran great again. We voted for making America great again and for world peace. That's the facts.
Yeah. Alex Jones He has hardly ever called out Israel and AIPAC, but he's starting to now because he sees how Bibi gets everything he wants. So, in my opinion, the regime change that should happen, that would make America great again, is Netanyahu leaving uh, his position in Israel, because he always pushes these wars, and he always pushes the U.S. into these wars, and he always gets what he wants. He was the one calling for us to bomb Iraq, or to get into war with Iraq, and get rid of the leadership there that would cause world peace. That's what he said back then, and he's just doing the same thing again. And this is what he always does. So Israel gets in it with the country. Their motivations are that they're saying they're protecting themselves because everyone in the Middle East wants Israel destroyed, and I don't want Israel destroyed. I think Israel should exist. I think we should protect Israel, but we should not be going to war with all these other countries. I think we can stop these other countries without bombing the crap out of them and causing all these regime changes, which just leaves a power vacuum, and then all these other uh, conflicting little tribes start fighting for rule over that nation, and it just becomes a bunch of terrorist cells that are out to get America and Israel, and it never works. It never stops. I think Israel should protect itself. I think America should protect itself. But uh, the other side of this is what I showed you guys the other day. Is there was 9 countries that didn't have a central bank in them, and we always just started attacking and regime changing these countries, and it's just gone down the list. And now we're hitting Iran, and then what's going to be next? Cuba and Russia, because those are the only countries left. And then the whole world is under this central banking system, and that's all being pushed by uh, the Bank of International Settlements, the Bank of London, and uh, a lot of these bankers are Jewish in heritage. I don't know if they are actually like religious Jews, but they are ethnically Jewish, and they seem to be involved in all the banks that are pushing for the central banking system that's taking over the world. And so I think Israel is fighting for the banksters, and the banksters just want a one world government. And Alex Jones, you can say what you want about him, but he always calls this stuff out before it happens. He called out 9/11. He said that they were going to attack the Twin Towers, and we needed to call the White House and tell them that we know that they're planning an attack on the Twin Towers. We know that they know, and that they're going to blame Bin Laden. And so he told them, look, we don't consent to whatever war you're going to push us into. You need to stop this attack. Otherwise, we know you let it happen. And then he told Russia, he had a guy from the Russian government on his show. He told them, he said, you guys are planning on invading Ukraine. I know you are. You're going to do it in February. He told everyone that they're going to invade in February. And the guy in Russia was like, oh no, we're not doing that, no. And then it happened, of course. And then, so Alex Jones knows what he's talking about. He's seen this before. He's researched all this. So when he's saying that they're just going to continue this, yeah, we could all see that. I respectfully disagree with people who have been complaining about endless wars and specifically the proxy war in Ukraine, some like unquestionably welcoming strikes in Iran, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I thought we were against war, man. I mean, unless it's Israel's enemy or what, and then we need to attack them for world peace because Russia has nukes too. Why aren't we stopping Russia? This is so dumb. We don't need to be in all these conflicts. We could just leave people alone. We could do that. Alright, I'm getting tired of this. Let's go to, well, let's see. I did want to see the actual bombings. Let's see. Let me look up U.S. bombs Iran because I didn't see any videos of the bombings. You know, I saw some, but they didn't even look real. I don't know. Alright, so this is the U.S. just bombed Iran, especially World War III. LOAJK. This is a volcano erupting. Yeah, see? Alright, can I see the actual videos of the footage of U.S. bombing Iran, Israel Defense Forces in Iran?
So Isfahan, as well, I understand, has been bombed by those U.S. B-2 bombers tonight. Also, Isfahan, as well as Natanz. Natanz had another underground facility. Remember, before Fordo was built in 2006, Natanz had been the main enrichment site. It was also built underground. Israeli jets had been targeting it in the last week, but they had not been able to penetrate underground. So those U.S. B-2 bombers, which flew out of Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, they would have taken out that underground facility. Natanz is interesting. You'll remember, Brett, it was the site of the Stuxnet virus, the cyber attack on those centrifuges years ago. But again, it was back up and running. And what is surprising, I think, tonight is that the president announced that it was not one site, but 3 underground sites and sites inside Iran's nuclear program that were struck by the U.S. Air Force tonight.
Yeah, and it is something. We'll go back to that Truth Social and eventually Control Room, if we can put it up there just so that everybody can see it on the screen. The fact that this, first of all, this announcement comes from Truth Social. This is a president who has put out a lot of announcements, big announcements through Truth Social, and this is the biggest of them, probably his biggest decision. The very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites, as you said, Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan, getting very specific there. And the payload, he says a full payload of bombs dropped on the primary site, Fordo. That suggests...
So, on Saturday, everyone on the right that that was for Trump and everything, they said Trump was not going to bomb Iran. We were not going to send our military over there to get involved. Israel's going to take care of it all. We're not going to get involved. And then he bombs not one site, because they were only talking about one site at the Fordo. And then all of a sudden that night, he bombs 3 sites. Says, yeah, there's 3 underground places that were enriching uranium. So they bombed them. And then everyone that's ultra MAGA or whatever they want to call themselves, says, oh, yeah, it was great. We bombed them. now we have peace. It was amazing. This is great. We destroyed those facilities. Now Iran can't have a weapon. Now they're saying, oh, wait, no, we didn't destroy everything. We actually don't know where that uranium is. You know, you see how it goes? It just keeps on going. And then the people that call that out, they say, hey, yeah, we are going to go in there. We are going to bomb them. And then we aren't going to be done with that. We're going to have to regime change, and then we're going to have to put boots on the ground, and then people are going to die, and this is going to keep on going and going and going. The people who are saying that, they're getting called fake MAGA or whatever. I don't know. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. You're allowed to criticize Trump. We all criticized him with the COVID stuff. Why are you guys so... Oh, yeah, they call us panicking. Oh, we're panicking. When no one wanted war until a few days ago. What the heck is going on, you guys? No one wanted war until a few days ago. We're all calling for world peace, no more new wars, peace in the Middle East. And then as soon as Israel wants to attack another place, we do it.
Jennifer, as we had been saying for many days,
we all
that
knew
they
this
may
was
have
going to
made
happen.
several passes at Fordo, considering that the experts were saying that just one probably wouldn't have gotten to the heart of.
Yeah, that's where he starts going into, oh yeah, we didn't actually destroy it all. So that looked real.
I understand
Those looked like
has
real
been
bombings.
bombed.
The ones I was seeing were big old mushroom clouds with like lightning and stuff. It's like, okay, that's not real. Operation Midnight Hammer was so secretive and executed perfectly. Yeah, you don't think they planned this the whole time? They're saying that they were not going to bomb them? 0 leaks, not a single shot fired at U.S. aircraft, decoy planes, 14 bombs dropped, 3 targets hit. Iran attacking us will be a poor choice. We will defeat ourselves. We will defend ourselves. Yeah, okay. I'm not against Israel. I'm just for America. I want Israel to exist. I want America to not be involved with them, really. They can protect themselves. They can make their own bombs. They can do whatever. They can attack whoever they want. Or, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I don't think we should be involved with Israel. But they are so ingrained in our political system. Yeah. Yeah. This isn't going to stop. They're all saying, "Oh yeah, it was the quickest war ever. We're done. Peace in the Middle East has been accomplished because we bombed them." Okay, you guys, you know that's not real. All right, maybe I'm gonna have to make another DisAlgorithm where we explore Ultra MAGA. All right, we're going to the DisAlgorithm. We're gonna pop that bubble. We're gonna go over and look what the other side is saying. I mean, I guess we got 3 different sides now, but let's take a look at what the left is saying. 4 people killed in Israel after Iranian missile strike moments before a ceasefire went into effect. Moments before ceasefire went into effect. That sucks. First evacuation flight from Israel landed in the UK. Look, these all have like 1 like. What the heck? This is the New York Post and it has 1 like. BBC News UK, 1 like. The Economist. Army's main adversary advances into strategic borderlands between Sudan and northern neighbors, Libya and Egypt. What does this mean for war? Okay. It's got 5 likes. Did these just come out? 1 minute. Okay, yeah, these just came out. Okay, so people haven't seen them yet. U.S. safety regulations contact Tesla over erratic robotaxis. Huh. Donald Trump has warned Israel to hold fire against Iran as he accused both sides of violating U.S. brokered ceasefire. Which countries are in NATO and how much do they spend on defense? Alright. It's possible that Baron Trump has earned nearly $40 million, leaving him with an estimated $25 million fortune after accounting for taxes. Photo. How Baron Trump may have earned $40 million from his dad's crypto venture. Okay. Robo-taxis. Tesla's robo-taxis are already facing a probe over alleged traffic violations, with the U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration seeking information from the company after reviewing online videos. Palestine health authorities say the death toll from Israel-Hamas war has exceeded 56,000 in Gaza. Dang. That's true, that's crazy. Overnight, Israel accuses Iran of what it described as a severe violation of the ceasefire, a charge Iran denies. Earlier, the two countries agreed the proposed truce after nearly 2 weeks of attacks. Trump tells NBC he expects the pause to last. He expects the pause to last forever. Yeah, right. Alright, I need to get this algorithm going better here. Alright, let's see. Trump on Israel, Iran continue to fight. They don't know if what they're effing doing. That was 21 minutes ago. Okay. So the ceasefire is not holding up. Say it ain't so. Alright, where are these are all news organizations. Where are the X account people? These are all news. I guess I followed a bunch of news places. U.S. and Israel should prepare for destructive Iranian cyber attacks. X Intel officer says, yeah, now the cyber attacks are happening. And if you have paid attention to what the World Economic Forum was saying, Klaus Schwab was saying that the coming cyber attack will make the pandemic lockdowns look like a cakewalk, like a picnic or something like that. So they said cyber attacks were going to happen, and they said it was going to be a lot more angrier world. So I think a lot of this is all orchestrated, the cyber attacks that are going to happen now. And then we're going to have lockdowns. And probably more diseases coming out. Joe Biden side. Of course, that's all he did the whole time he was in office. Best thing that ever happened to us. Okay.
Oh my God, no, for real, y'all. It's Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Joe, I love you. You the best thing that ever happened to us. Did you just make Joe Biden laugh? You the best thing that ever happened to us. Did you just make Joe Biden laugh?
He looked confused there for a second. I don't know if he was just confused or if he was wondering if they were trolling. No. He's like, are they being serious? Oh yeah, they like me. I'm skipping through a lot of this because this is news programs. Um, the news organizations love war, so they're always going to push for it because it gets them views. Same thing with COVID. They're just going to push for the scariest thing to keep eyes on them. So most of the news organizations are going to support Trump if he's bombing anyone because they want that to continue happening because it's going to get us into more wars. And then they can turn around and criticize him and try to call for his impeachment and stuff like that. But they love it when we go to war. Them and the neocons, they're all on the same side pretty much. Alright, I'm trying to look for just independent people. Alright, let's look what Brooklyn Dad has been saying. So, the press that kneels, ABC's disgrace in the age of Trump. Why firing Terry Morgan proves mainstream media is complicit in normalizing lies. ABC fired journalist Terry Morgan for speaking the truth about Trump's hate, proving media's spineless surrender. Dive into the full disgrace on my Substack. Alright, whatever. This?
There's a group of tow truck drivers in LA that are going around and looking for unmarked vehicles, and they're towing them away. There's a group of tow truck drivers in LA that are going around and looking for unmarked vehicles, and they're towing them away.
Missiles are flying 20 minutes after Trump's ceasefire was supposed to begin. So a ceasefire lasted approximately 0.001. Scare me, please. Donald Trump has lied about literally everything a person could lie about. Big things and small. Insignificant things 30,000 times. Why is anyone believing anything he says about damage to Iran's facilities or ceasefire agreements in Iran denies he is a liar? Breaking the clown-in-chief just announced a ceasefire that let Israel keep attacking for the next 12 hours. That lets Israel keep attacking for the next 12 hours and attempts to frame the bombing and drama as the 12-day war. Iran still has its materials and stood up to two Western powers after the U.S. wasted a bunch of firepower. This is some stupid theater. If it was a movie, I'd want my money back. And no, you still don't get a Nobel Peace Prize, you jackass. Okay, so Iran still has its materials and stood up to two Western powers. So is he supporting Iran? Sounds like it. If Pedo Project follows him, I gotta follow him. What has Joe been saying? Maybe someday women in America will have as many rights as guns do. Oh, yeah. He's effing insane. And people wonder how this insane idiot bankrupted casinos. Caitlin Collins, we have two countries that have been fighting for so hard for so long they don't know what the F they are doing. President Trump says of Israel and Iran accusing each other of violating the ceasefire as announced. If Joe Biden had gone around congratulating himself for negotiating a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, while both countries continued to bomb one another, Republicans and Democrats alike would be calling for the 25th. Yeah, so we've seen how We kept men out of women's sports, honey. Boom. Called activism. Also, no ceasefire. What a dumb tweet. Also, no ceasefire. I ain't adding to that. That's so stupid. Even as a fake leftist on here, I ain't gonna fall. I ain't gonna like that. That's so stupid. Okay.
They've shown you who they are. And it seems that we understand the Ayatollah's in a bunker because Netanyahu said he could take him out at any time, and Trump has talked about regime change. So does that mean that that's all over? Regime change is off the table? I mean, I'm only saying this in the context of some things are impossible to put back in the bottle. Sometimes when people show you who they are, they've shown you who they are. And it seems that we have passed such a moment, whether you're in a ceasefire or not.
Yeah, I think that's right. And listen, we still have not gotten, any damage assessments. We have a classified briefing in the Senate tomorrow afternoon where hopefully we'll get some questions answered. But, already you're seeing information that suggests, we did not deal a lethal blow to their nuclear program. They may still have as much as a half a ton of uranium enriched up to the 60% level, which is near what you need for a nuclear weapon. We may have just damaged Fordo. We may not have destroyed it. And so if that's the case, if their nuclear program is still basically intact, and now they know that, the only way the regime survives is by speeding towards that weapon. In the medium to long range, this might get worse for the United States, not better. So, we still don't even have all the facts to know how impactful this strike was, but it's certainly...
All right, all this is so frustrating. I'm sure a lot more stuff is going to happen today. It's really early Tuesday morning, so I'm sure a lot more is going to happen. So we didn't learn much from the DisAlgorithm, except for, the usual stuff. Trump is insane, incompetent, and the leftist news is pushing for the war also, but also against Trump. So we'll break out of the DisAlgorithm. And then we're going to go look at some funny stuff over here. Alright, Scott Prezer. He helps. Oh, that just changed. Well, he helps people get registered and stuff for Republicans. He helped a lot in Pennsylvania and got the Amish to come out for Trump. He helped a lot with that anyways. Iraq is building a nuke. I need 500K troops. 8 years and $2 billion. Iran is building a nuke. Give me 10 20-year-old pilots and 45 minutes in Iranian airspace. Yeah, if it's true. This isn't over. That's not all it took. We'll see in 8 years how this looks. LDS Church launches missionary BMX games. That'd be awesome.
Just when you didn't think this giveaway truck could get any better, we just...
Oh, be quiet. Breaking victory. Supreme Court 6-3 rules in favor of President Trump deporting illegal aliens to third countries, like Sudan. Dissenting was Jackson, Kagan, and Sotomayor. Great timing as it comes on Clarence Thomas's birthday. I think that's cool. Both Israel and Iran violated ceasefire terms. I'm not happy with Israel. Trump was right about everything.
Obama popped up the other day, and I was just looking at him in the news. I don't care what he was talking about. I was looking at his legs, and he went for a deep cross, and his cross was deeper than the chick he was talking
It's
to.
going to be
which
like
is,
Sharon Stone in the in that movie. Where she
it's
crosses.
exactly that. It's essentially saying, I am evolved.
It could just be a kink. Maybe you're just yucking his yum. Maybe, you said he's trying to choke his own out. Maybe that's what gets him going.
I don't think there was a memo.
Right.
I just think it's understood, and I don't think anyone told Trump how to sit either. It's just understood. I every once in a while will go, I'm going to try this, and I find it wildly uncomfortable.
I'm also seeing the way you're crossing the lower part of your portion of your legs tightly wrapped round one another. See, some people might consider that to be a little feminine.
If you put it on paper, what does Adam Carolla love? Building. Number 2, cars. Number 3, making fun of women. Number 4, making fun of women. Number 5, stand-up comedy. Number 6, making documentaries about car stuff. Eventually, might think I was gay and hiding it. Obama popped up the other.
This is what it feels like. This has been a long time coming. To replicate these Rambo knives is not an easy feat because there's a certain balance, and the people I deal with and myself are.
Outside of Cathedral Coffee in St. John's, a statement is being made. But it's what is not displayed on Cathedral Coffee's property that has people upset. Former employees claim they weren't allowed to hang the pride flag.
When I heard that, it really upset me. Like, there's no place for that in our community, as far as I'm concerned.
Spoke to the owner, and he says that he believes in a place of neutrality. He wouldn't display the MAGA flag, he wouldn't display the Jewish flag, and he wouldn't display the pride flag. What's your take on that?
Spoken like an oppressor, honestly. Like, I just don't believe that.
I mean, you see how this works? The utter irony of this ideology. I mean, if you do not do as we demand of you, which is fealty and obedience, and showcase yourself to be an ally to the sex cult that you're surrounded by, then that magically makes you an oppressor. Neutrality, disobedience, and noncompliance equals oppression. Ladies and gentlemen, we share the same words, but the left has infected them with different definitions.
Yep.
Keep that in mind.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have called into question the constitutionality of Donald Trump's actions. He bypassed Congress, potentially violated the War Powers Resolution. I believe this is certainly a clear violation of international law at the very least. Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries accused the president of misleading the country as to his intentions. What do you think are the possible ramifications that President Trump could face for arguably overstepping his authority?
Well, look, constitutionally, only Congress has the power to declare war. The War Powers Act would make it seem very clear you need to have congressional approval on this. But president after president after president has launched military action without the approval of Congress.
Yeah.
And Congress, under Democratic and Republican leadership, has complained the president is violating the War Powers Act. This is not new. I mean, I go back. I covered Bill Clinton and the military strikes against Kosovo back in 1999. Again,
That's why I think it's more of an international law violation.
But you know, look, it's a Republican Congress right now. I don't think he's not getting any blowback from within his own party, with the exception of Tom Massie.
So what's the good of having it then if they all violate it?
Well, that's a great question. I mean,
we've been using the 2003 AUMF to authorize every military strike in about 25 years. So Congress can't be feckless and then be mad when they don't like the outcome.
Yeah, so that was after 9/11. Congress passed this authorization of military force against. It was supposed to be against Afghanistan.
Yeah.
For harboring Al Qaeda, and it has been used over and over and over and over again.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have called into question the Constitution.
No, girl. No. 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 Ronnie Radke is a hardcore anti-woke transphobe, and Marilyn Manson is a serial abuser of women. Almost 140,000 people liked that video, and I saw countless girls duetting it, stitching it, saying they would get in that car. Okay? Hundreds of thousands of people are either okay with abuse towards women and transphobia, or they are in a high risk situation of getting into an abusive relationship because they base their attraction on superficial things like looks or fame. I personally understand the attraction to the hardcore rocker type very well. I dated Marco Kubo, who is now the guitarist of Falling in Reverse, back in 2013 when he was only playing for Veil of Maya. Okay? Radke and Manson, they are visually appealing with all of their body modifications, but they are far from attractive due to who they are as people. They're in a Cybertruck, for Christ's sake. If we want to combat misogyny, we need to separate our attraction from visual appeal and instead base it on what the bio says. Read the bio.
That is a lie. You did not date my guitar player. You met him in Hawaii 15 years ago before he went to Japan on tour with Veil of Maya. So that's a lie. So you're a bad person. You know what? Before I go any further, can we, as women, can we stop saying that we've dated musicians that we've met one time and hooked up with? Or even you meet them 2 times and you hook up with them. And then you go tell all your friends that you guys are dating. You're not dating them. They don't like you. If they liked you, they'd have told you the first time. So let's move on. Marilyn Manson, a years-long investigation into a rock star, Marilyn Manson, over sexual assault and domestic violence allegations has been dropped. California prosecutors said on Friday, January 24th, 2025. Years-long investigation dropped. Do you understand what that fucking means? That means that many years of an investigation could never find any evidence. And there's way more to the story that I know that you don't. So your parasocialness is showing, and it's an embarrassment to women alike because all you're doing.
I would join them any day.
You're going to join Hamas?
Yeah, just like how you would join the IDF. Yeah.
You're going to be a valiant fighter?
Yeah, bro. Put a nice bullet in every soldier's head.
Yeah, you're going to kill some Jews?
I mean, there's Zionists, but they don't really define Judaism.
No, they don't?
But dude, over there, they're real Jews, bro.
The entire IDF, most of them are Jews and Arabs. Jews and Muslims, you know that, right?
There's no Muslims in the IDF.
Yeah, there are.
Okay, maybe the hypocrites. Then the Muslims, they're not Muslims.
They're not Muslims?
Yeah, they're not.
There are many Muslims in the IDF.
Okay, well, they're not Muslims.
I am an Arab. I am a Muslim. And I love my country. In fact, I'm prepared to die for it. Which is why I serve in its army. I don't have to do this. I want to do this. Because my country is a special place, unlike another, free, diverse, vibrant. Yet other countries not so free, not so diverse, call for my country's complete destruction. The moment my country lets its guard down, it will be destroyed. My country is Israel. I grew up and still live in a small village named after my family's Bedouin Arab tribe. Our roots in this land run deep. In 1948, when Arab armies invaded the new state of Israel, my family thought of leaving our village. Some of them did. But when the Jewish leaders heard that, they implored us to remain. This is our country. For both Arabs and Jews, they said, stay and we will work together to build it. My family stayed, my parents were born here, made their lives here, started their own family here in Israel. In 2002, I was a teenager. It was a violent time. Palestinian suicide bombers were blowing up Israeli civilians, a danger to Arabs and Jews alike. Israeli troops entered the West Bank to stop them at their source. As a result, many Palestinians were killed. I was torn. Whose side was I on? Israelis or the Palestinians? Is it possible to be an Arab and an Israeli? The question became even more difficult when I saw men from my own village wearing the uniform of the Israeli army. Only Jews are required to serve in the military. No one forced these Arab men to join. They chose it. Why? I asked them. Our home is here in Israel, they said. Our home is under attack. Our neighbors in this home are Jews. They are being attacked. We fight together. Still, I struggled. I went to high school in Nazareth. There, unlike the village where I grew up, most of the Arab students identified as Palestinian even though they are citizens of Israel. Some of the students, my friends, hated Israel. They couldn't understand me. You're a Palestinian, they said, so you must hate Israel. When I said that I didn't, that we had far more freedom and opportunity than Arabs anywhere in the Middle East, they called me a traitor. After high school, I went to study electrical engineering at Knyon, a leading Israeli university. During my first semester, heavy rocket fire from Gaza forced Israel to launch a counterattack. Not long after the war began, I witnessed a group of Arab Israeli students expressing their solidarity with Hamas, the Palestinian terror organization that controls Gaza and is committed to Israelis' violent destruction. Did these students not understand that those rockets could just as easily be aimed at them? Hamas didn't care who they killed as long as they landed inside the borders of Israel. Had my fellow Arab students forgotten that Israel had left Gaza a few years before? That there wasn't a single Israeli living there? That day, I dropped out of school to join the Israeli army, the IDF. A few months later, I was a soldier in the Israeli Air Force. After months of training, I was assigned to the Search and Rescue Helicopter Unit. Our job was to save lives. We never concerned ourselves with the identity of the people who needed our help. We rescued Syrian civilians wounded in their country's civil war, Palestinian children from Gaza requiring urgent medical care, and countless Israelis of every religious and ethnic background. A life, whether it is Muslim or Jewish, Palestinian or Israeli, is a life. On a base of 6,000 soldiers, I was the only Bedouin. But it didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was keeping Israel, our home, safe. We came from all parts of the country and from many parts of the world. We wear every shade of skin color. Our shared goal created a deep bond. Today, I am a student at Haifa University. Half of the students are Arab. More than once, I have seen the Palestinian flag being waved at rally or protest on campus. In Israel, you can do this, because whether you are a Jew or an Arab, you are free. What more do you need to know? I am Muhammad Kabia for Bragg University.
I would join them any.
Is methylene blue a scam? Here's what you need to know.
That, Muslims were in the IDF. That's something new that I learned. See, Israel's not bad. Oh, it's turned on now automatically. Israel's not a bad country. Its leadership is very warmongery, very hawkish, just like our neocons here. That's my opinion.
What is this?
A trans quiz.
Oh, trans quiz.
Yeah.
Oh, and should I take it?
Yes. Yeah. Is this person born female or trans?
Born female.
Born female.
Trans. Yep.
This is the quiz. Next question.
I'm 1 for 1.
Zoom in a little bit. Can you zoom in a little bit more? The whole thing, the page. Oh, here we go.
Woman.
Born female.
Transsexual.
That's a woman, dude.
You're wrong twice.
Oh, fuck. See, that's what I mean. Ban it.
Yeah.
I don't even know the difference.
Trans.
Woman.
Trans.
Wow, woman.
Woman, what the
gay.
fuck? We're gay.
Yeah. Trans.
No, real.
That's a woman.
That's where they get you.
That's where you get you.
Trans.
No.
Female.
Yeah, ban it.
You gotta ban it.
Yeah, you gotta ban it.
You gotta ban it. Yeah, we're confused.
What is this?
A trans quiz.
Oh, trans quiz.
Oh, and
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
What do you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran?
My district in the great state of Texas is actually a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 25 points. And as I said, I'm a direct descendant of a slave. My great-great-grandfather was born on a Rosedown plantation. I am literally being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. That's the progress because, like, a lot of white people had to vote for me. A lot.
So
I don't even ever want to hear Whoopi Goldberg's conversation about how it's worse to be black in America right now. That's a bit far. And my father, who's 75 years old, he was a man that was in the French quarters that had to go get a sandwich to the back door of the building. And his son is now a United States congressman in a white majority district in Texas as a Republican. That is America. That's America.
Alright, I'm gonna go into some of the stuff my brother sent me here.
And here's your trick on how to help them already start standing. It's actually insane. So you're gonna put his hands here and here. Let him balance out just like this. Just like that. Alright, you ready? You stay there. Ready? You nerd! 6 months old, and here's...
This is actually a white majority district that president.
Big. Come on, Piggy. Come on, Piggy. Come on, Pig! Piggy! Come on, Piggy!
All right. Yeah.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah, that's what we've been trying to say. We don't want to get involved in this. They aren't going to stop. It's going to keep on progressing. They want regime change. They want boots on the ground. Netanyahu's going to get what he wants. Trump's going to go into his Air Force One, his what do they call that, Marine One, and he's going to call Netanyahu. He's going to yell at him, and then Netanyahu's just going to do whatever he wants because that's what Netanyahu does. So I think Trump is starting to realize that maybe this was a bad idea, that this isn't going to stop. So, you know, we're still all for Trump. We still want him to succeed. We still believe in him. We still think he's doing his best. We still think he was the best candidate. And yeah, this isn't going to stop until Trump needs to stand up to Israel. He needs to stop it. He needs to stop the war in Israel. He needs to stop the war in Ukraine. That's what he promised, and so that's what he needs to do.
Israel,
world-renowned scientist from Harvard, Dr. Lee, explain it.
Studies have been done to show that the flavonols in cocoa stimulate stem cells to come out of your bone marrow like bees in a beehive.
All right, this is
15 years ago, you and I met. You were at that time a champion for people who had suffered injuries from vaccines. You were very adamant about it. You were the leading member of Congress on that issue. Since then, you've accepted $2 million from pharmaceutical companies in contribution, more than any other member of this committee. And your enthusiasm for supporting the old ACIP committee, which was completely rife and pervasive with pharmaceutical conflicts, seems to be an outcome of those contributions.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
Point of order. Point of order.
The chair recognizes
Point of order.
Dr.
The gentleman is impugning the reputation of a member of Congress.
Oh, no.
15 years ago.
All right, I am furious with the Trump administration, and I think you know exactly why. For the last 14 years, every single one of my booty calls has been named Operation Midnight Hammer. Yeah. And they just took the name without asking. That's called copyright infringement. Oh yeah. I will see you in court, Donald. Oh, it's going to be so great. We're going to take so much money. See you in court, bitch.
So this is exactly why we're doing this video.
The Department of Homeland Security says Yusuf Meridano had been living in the United States illegally for nearly 8 years since U.S. officials determined he lied on a visa application on Sunday, just 4 months after the Iranian foreign national was added to the U.S.'s known or suspected terrorist list. He was arrested in central Mississippi. He's now in ICE custody pending removal proceedings, and he's not alone. Over the past 48 hours, ICE officials have arrested 11 Iranian nationals spanning 8 states nationwide. Among them, 5 possessed previous criminal convictions, their crimes ranging from grand larceny to drug and firearm possessions. Also among those apprehended, Ribbar Karimi. While arresting him in northern Alabama, ICE officials say they found his Islamic Republic of Iran Army identification card and allege he served as an Iranian sniper between 2018 and 2021. The Department of Homeland Security
He's got the flock of seagulls hairdo. That's funny.
I just saw a post on Twitter saying that Trump should identify as female because it would force the liberals to either accept him as the first female president or admit that gender ideology is absolutely ridiculous. And I think that's genius.
Yeah.
How do we pass that idea on to him? And with his sense of humor, he might be down. Come on, Trump. Come on. It would be such a power move. Funniest thing I've heard all day. I just saw...
That would be great. Did I get it? It's not working.
You're a nerd. I know you are, but what am I? You're an idiot.
I know you are, but what am I?
I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? Infinity. I know you are, but what am I? You're a
He was arrested in central Mississippi pending removal proceedings, and he's not alone. Over the past 48 hours, ICE officials have arrested 11.
No. No.
No. Iranian nationals spanning 8 states nationwide. Among them, 5 possessed previous criminal convictions, their crimes ranging from grand larceny to drug.
This one's pretty cool. Okay. That's so cool. The jet's coming out. Alright. Well, I'm gonna call it there. Hope you guys have a good day. Hope nothing crazy happens. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Some truths will be hilarious, others painful, but we must be free. We must break into the DisAlgorithm.